So, in today's episode, we are going to do a real life deal review. And I always love these because they are very, very relevant to what's going on in today's market. These are deals that we have done in the last 90 days. And so, not only do we get to apply what we've learned in the podcast, but we can get things that, really that I don't normally talk about in the podcast that happened basically in real life. So, I think that it's a really, really good mix of teaching and education, and then also kind of what happened when the rubber met the road. So before we jump in today's deal review, if you have not been over to nextlevelwholesaling.com and you are looking to build a wholesale business that throws off cash month after month after month, without your personal day-to-day involvement, you're looking for freedom, you want to get off the treadmill, and you want a massive bank account, take the Next Level Wholesaling assessment. Go to nextlevelwholesaling.com. It's totally free. You'll see it. It'll take you 5 minutes, and it'll become abundantly clear on what that next step needs to be for you to explode this thing and have a business that serves you. All right. So our deal review for today happened in one of my markets in Florida. And seller called us, and really, really, really interesting. I won't get into all the specifics, but the wife called. Her husband was in prison, and the husband was going to be away for a very, very, very long time. She wanted out of Dodge, had the full power to sell the property, and wanted a fresh start. Called our voicemail off a postcard and says, "I want to sell this house." And this was interesting because we don't get laydowns very often. A laydown is when someone calls off a postcard and wants to sell right away. But because we were consistent, we mail month after month after month. She said this wasn't the first time that she got one of our postcards. She called us, which was fantastic. And so this was a really, really good deal. Let me tell you the numbers. This was in a gated community, and the house, we thought, okay, and this is a little precursor, was worth about $369,000 if it was in decent condition. Okay, not fixed up, but in decent condition. And that means that our retail buyer would want to kind of move in there and buy it. And we negotiate a price of $195,000. It's a pretty good spread. And so I'm looking at this, and the house really looked like on the outside just needed a little bit of work, a little bit of paint on the outside, a little bit of paint on the inside, a good cleaning, a few little knickknacks here and there. But long story short, quick $13,000 in and out. So I got a private money loan on this deal to buy it. I paid 2 points and 10% interest on this deal. Now, when I say a private lender, by the way, it's interesting because I have my own lending company that is, when I say my own lending company, where if I lend my own money for a deal, right, that counts. So I used half of my own money, and then I used half of a private lender's money. By the way, the numbers that I'm going to talk about are the same either way because I pay myself interest, but I also paid the other lender interest on this deal. So on this deal right here, long story short, we put it on the market after we did the paint, after on the outside, the inside, we did the knickknacks, and we fixed we cleaned the inside, and we put it on the market at $369. Now, I can tell you we put it on the market for the first week at $369, and it was crickets. And now the market was like kind of starting to slow down again all of a sudden, right? Nothing. So then I lowered it down to $365. The next week, still crickets, nothing. The next week we lower it down to $359, nothing. And so now all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, and I'm starting to hear from a lot of investors that the market is slowing down. Now, here is the beauty of this, is that a lot of other investors that I know in this particular market, the market was slowing down and inventory actually is kind of starting to pile up in this one market. They were starting to panic. And it's funny because they bought their deals too tight. And they're not lowering their price as fast as I am because they got too much in it, right? They don't want to lose. They didn't negotiate well enough on the front end. On this deal, you could see that we've got a huge spread. So I'm not scared to lower it, to move it. So I lower it again down to $349. Does not sell. I lower it to $345. I get an offer for $339. I counter at $345. We go into escrow. Okay, now if you could see when I say escrow, I mean we go into contract, right? Escrow, title, your lawyer's office, wherever it is where you get the deal done. So things are looking good. Now I could tell the buyer fought us a little bit on that extra $5,000. They did an inspection. Turns out there was a little hole in the roof, or a leak, I should say, that I didn't know about. And so they renegotiated with us down to $339. Now notice this is not a cash buyer situation, right? There's a retail buyer, a little picky, but they were really, really serious. They had 20% down and they can close in 3 weeks. I am recording this, by the way. This is just the end of the first week of January of 2024. So this was during Christmas in December, early December. And so I wanted this deal to close by the end of the year. They were willing to close on the 28th of December. So we went into contract. We closed the deal on the 29th of December. I believe that was a Friday. So last day of the calendar year. And here's how the numbers turned out. We went up selling for $339,000. I had to pay my real estate agent 1.5% commission, and I paid the other real estate agent who had the buyer 2.5% commission. I had closing costs when I bought, closing costs when I sold, had my insurance, had $13,000 of repairs. I had some HOA fees that I had to pay, had some utilities that I had to also pay, right? So there's a lot more to flipping than there is to wholesaling. Now, this right here, I wouldn't call a flip because I wasn't rehabbing the house. I just did a quick little paint and clean up there. But still, you see some of the complications. I paid approximately $10,000 in private money costs, but I got half of that back to me. And this is the beauty when you start saving money, right? You can lend to yourself. But again, this doesn't have to be you, right? You could have gotten a full private money loan from someone. Profit on this deal was about $90,000, right? Very, 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 very good. 90 grand. Now, I paid my acquisition specialist off of this, and they made a very, very, very nice paycheck off of that. But this was one deal, just happened. So what are some lessons from this? Number one is when you're going to take down a deal, you got to have room, right? Because sometimes the market can change for you. I don't like doing skinny deals. I don't like doing deals just for the sake of doing deals. You don't want to do that. Because it's funny, because some of the houses that, the other investors I was talking to were trying to move it, they're still on the market. They're paying interest on that. They're paying utilities on that. They're paying insurance. And now they can't move to the next deal. They're just hanging on to that. So negotiate your deals. Because I negotiated this so well up front, I had the courage just to move on, right? You want to do the same. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the repairs, they're never as little as you think they are, right? We thought it was going to be about $8,000, turned out to be $13,000. Buyer got me down that credit for $5,000, which sucked. But hey, it all worked out. That was the second thing. But, however, this deal, the seller really, really wanted cash. Like they wanted cash like right now. And also the seller wanted post-occupancy for a week, meaning they want to stay in the property for a week after. So the spread was good enough that I felt comfortable taking the deal down, buying it instead of just wholesaling the deal. And I'm glad that we did that on this deal right here. But the second lesson is negotiate deep, because taking the deal down, buying it was a no-brainer. If I would have negotiated this, let's say, instead of 195, like at 220, right? I'm not sure I really wanted to take down the deal, right? I probably would have wanted to wholesale that, and I probably would have made about $30,000, $40,000 less on this deal because of that. So glad I did that. I was really, really, really happy. The other part about this, the lesson that I liked is, hey, live frugally, right? Save a ton of money while you're building your investment business, because once you get that nest egg, you can lend to yourself, right? And make money on your own deals by lending to yourself instead of having to go all private money. Now here, I didn't do that. I only need to put $95,000 for my half, and then I brought in another investor for the other 95. So saved myself another $5,000 there, right? By the way, my lending business made $5K. It was still an expense to this business over here, but still made $90K, and then made $5K in my lending business for myself. So just a reminder here. Oh, by the way, the markets do change, so be prepared for that. So my lessons here is number one. You know what? I'm gonna give you one more lesson too. Is about a weekend we went to the property and some things were kind of like disorderly in the property, like a little bit of construction debris, nothing crazy, but some dust. We saw a window that had a crack in it, And so make sure that you check on your properties. You don't have to do it, but you could send somebody in there with a video camera and just do a walkthrough for you. We like to pay our notary to do those kind of tasks for us. And so that was one thing that needed to change. Maybe that's a part of the reason why the house wasn't selling. But I'll review. Number one is negotiate your deal strong, right? Because it gives you lots of options. You see the spread here. Number two is don't be scared to take a deal down when you've got a very, very, very big spread, and getting the property vacant is going to make you a lot more money. Three is don't stick on your price for principal, right? If the house is not moving for some reason, it's probably too high. So get aggressive in lowering your price. Okay, that is my philosophy. It's worked very, very, very well for me. Four, have private money available if you want to take a deal down. You could have wholesaled this deal, but also start saving money so you can start making money on your money. So not bad for a 90K deal in December, right? A great way to end the year. And if you have any questions about this deal, you can always hit me up on Instagram at Todd Toback. Love to hear from you. Also, don't be scared to, feel free, don't be scared to hit me up on my Instagram at Todd Toback, or feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. And don't forget to go to nextlevelwholesaling.com and take that assessment. And I will talk to you on the next episode.